What was your initial reaction to hearing the news that Conley was going to pass? It's funny because I think before you reported it, we were talking about it. Like, man, it's taking a couple days here. Clearly, this guy's not jumping at the chance, and I don't blame him. This is a big ask. This is a big rebuild here.
Yeah, it was a bit surprising, considering that since April 2nd, his name had been floated around as pretty much the inevitable guy to take the job. And of course, when you consider his roots in Baltimore, where he got his start here in Washington with the Wizards, 1999, working here, and other brothers working with the Wizards. And you thought, hey, this is a great little homecoming story. Local kid makes good, comes back, saves a franchise he loves, but didn't work out that way. So I was a bit surprised. But
were the Wizards surprised, Candace? Do you think they were taken aback?
Can't speak to the heart and mind of Ted Leonsis, but once you offer a man a contract, which Leonsis did on Sunday, I'm thinking they thought they had found their man.
Right.
Guess that only goes so far. You got to think about the situation and the challenges, and there's many more challenges here with the Wiz than with Denver. I mean, Denver's on the come.
Yeah.
And then you look at the salary situation with the Wiz, and you got Beal making almost 28 next year. You got Wall making 39, won't even play. There's going to be a lot of new faces too with this team. I'm looking at a list right now, Candace, and you know more than I do. I only see 5 guys under contract for next year.
They have 6 signed for the 2019-20
okay, so it's 6
season.
So
yeah. Lest we forget Jordan McRae.
All right. So there's going to be a lot of new faces. What can we expect here?
I think it will be a rebuilding, and to the extent of a complete teardown. I'm not sure of that because you still have a 2-time All-Star who does compete. You have to give Bradley Beal a lot of credit because he really has goals and he's going to go after them, and he wants to be a leader, and he wants to be the face when John is not out, and help the team. But when you do look at the roster, and they have a lot of things to do this July and with signings, you can't imagine that this will be a team that can compete with the top teams in the East. I don't think that's a bold or a hot take, but they clearly are going to have to retool some things, and how much of that struggle is going to be remains to be seen. But it's definitely going to be a rebuild.
Well, obviously, a lot of it's going to depend on who they ultimately hire here. So now with Connelly out and some of the remaining candidates that we know about who's been interviewed multiple times, Danny Ferry, obviously, got the family legacy. He's got the experience in the league playing and in the front office. I think that might be an interesting choice for them. Troy Weaver, and then Tommy Shepard, who worked under Ernie. And, after your report and your article about sort of all the dysfunction there, I would be shocked that they would go with somebody like Shepard who learned under Ernie. That would scare the hell out of me. You say Washington has no immediate plans to switch course and offer a deal to any of those 3 remaining candidates at this point. So who are they looking at then if it's not going to be those 3?
No immediate plans, as in they're not going to offer when I wrote that story, I was nothing's coming down the pike today. And that, of course, that was yesterday. So I took that as those are the 3 guys, yeah. But it's not like they said, okay, Conley passed on us, now let's give this guy.
They didn't have a clear number 2, is what you're saying.
That's what it seems like. And it looks like they're going to take a little more time to figure out which direction they're going to go. But those 3, as far as I know, those are the 3 remaining candidates.
Talk about Shepard and how I think that's really I liked Ernie personally, right? But, if your article is accurate, and I take it to be accurate, of all the dysfunction there, all the unaccountability, if that's such a word, that's been going on in that franchise for so many years, why would you go to an internal candidate?
The adjective is scary on this morning. It cracks me up. Scary. I'm sure a lot of Wizards fans would probably feel that way. However, I just think that when and the way that I was told that how Ernie ran the top of the franchise, he pretty much has, and he had talented people around him, but might not have used them to the extent that they should have been used. And when your boss wants one thing, you kind of have to acquiesce to the boss. So I don't, when I was writing that story, I wasn't thinking, Tommy Shepard, he's certainly part of the problem, and that's scary. I know that Tommy has spent the last weekend overseas scouting international prospects. He's done that in the past. And I know that he has a pretty solid reputation in the league. Mm-hmm. So when league people tell me that the dude is upright and he's smart and he can be capable, I have to believe those people who worked with him. Now, again, it remains to be seen if he can do that. But his biggest obstacle, of course, would be if he can get out of Ernie's shadow.
Yeah.
Joined by Candace Buckner. She covers the Wizards for the Washington Post. So getting back to what whoever the GM has to deal with, you talk about in the article that they already have $90 million tied up in the 6 players that we talked about, and that includes 2 traditional centers in Dwight Howard and Jan Mahimi, and the league is shifting away from that type of center.
Right. What's going to happen with, of course, Dwight Howard decided to opt in and take his player option and come back another year. You can say he played 9 games, and in those 9 games, he was their best rebounder. So maybe you can use something with him. Jan Mahimi's remaining $16 million. When he was, he's been out of the mix, out of the rotation, basically all last year. You have to wonder if the new GM will figure out a way to try to clear that money off the books. I don't know, but that's one of the biggest. Working with that current roster would be one of the immediate biggest challenges for whoever it is, whether it is Danny Ferry or Troy Weaver or Tommy Shepard. And if I could say something about Troy and Danny, I think Troy has this great reputation as a recruiter. So you could think, okay, maybe he can get guys to come here on the cheap because they are players are just attracted to him. But Danny Ferry, he has been around the most, and has been the top at an organization, a top basketball executive. He has won 60 games in 2 places. He's built around a superstar in LeBron James, and he's built something that's a little bit more common in this NBA and just a solid team in Atlanta. So all 3 guys have their different advantages, and I would have to say their complications. However, it'll be interesting to see which guy and which talent Ted Leonsis values.
Well, we're hearing rumors that there are certainly teams that are interested in Bradley Beal. And when you talk about a rebuild situation, John Wall is untradeable because of that contract. No one's going to trade for that money.
And the injuries.
With the injury history, right. And Bradley Beal's got 2 more years on the deal. Is it a foregone conclusion that they're going to try and work something out and sign Bradley Beal to a John Wall type of contract in 2 years? Or is it a real possibility that they move him and try and acquire a lot of pieces?
Right. I don't think it would be smart at all to sign Brad to that Supermax just because you can't tie up more of the upcoming salary with 2 players, and that's nothing against Brad Beal. But the problem is he's getting to the point where he's so good, he's a problem. And in 2 years, he can leave. And so, other very smart people have written about this already in the market, that the first task is to make a decision and moving Brad, because you can't give him that Supermax if he becomes eligible.
Right.
Of course, the All-NBA team has not been announced yet, but you can't do that. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You can't tie up that much money, even if it's not a Supermax deal. If it's a max deal, I mean, that's a ton of money with 2 players. I mean, those guys will be making $75 million combined in 2 years. I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
So you're right. The new GM's going to have to make a huge decision, and we didn't think it was possible to move Otto's deal, and they did. And now you're going to get –
and got nothing for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they spent last year, essentially every move was to get beneath the luxury tax. So you saw where the priority was right there, and that should signal to where the priority will be even moving forward with the new leader. They want to spend more reasonable and smarter. So I would be shocked. If Brad makes All NBA, you cross that bridge at that point. But I would be just shocked if they want to venture down that road again.